Hi, I'm Audrey Brisson, and I'm playing Amelie in Amelie the Musical, which is about to open here at the Criterion Theatre on the 20th of May.
My window, there's a view of other windows, my own museum full of paintings I look through, where everything is clear. It isn't where I am, it's only where I go from here. What matters now is I am not afraid, as everything I ever need is here. This is how my world gets made.
We couldn't be happier to be back on stage after what's felt like an eternity. Until then, for the Sky VIPs, a little snippet of rehearsal process and maybe one or two songs. Enjoy it.
They say times are hard for dreamers, but they won't be hard for me when all my dreams have gone as planned. I can see who's falling down, and though they do not see me, I am reaching out my hand. Inside the train, out through the glass, my finger tracing, I see myself in every face that's racing past. Off the train in Paris, half a mile from Sacré-Cœur, the city's waking up for me. I can see what each of them has lost or locked inside, and suddenly I hold the key. I turn the lock and disappear, and all it takes is one more step, and then I'm here, just me behind the door. It isn't what I have, it's only what I have in store that matters now. The past can only fade, as everything I ever need is here. This is how my world gets
What's the show about, Michael?
I think the show is about an extraordinary young woman who hasn't discovered that she's extraordinary yet, and spends her life sort of living in the shadows and living her extraordinary life via solving the loneliness of others while avoiding maybe solving her own loneliness. And what happens is, because life is messy and hard to control, and it's hard to control life, you end up getting caught up in an activity that slowly, although you think you're kind of keeping yourself at a distance and involving yourself in solving other people's loneliness, you start to roll into a situation where you're confronted by real life. And, and it's about a girl who's pulled out into the open and is suddenly there, vulnerable, and having to connect with someone and risk not being lonely anymore, but maybe getting her heart broken, and just experiencing at the end the exquisite power of that risk. That's what I think the show's about to me. And you don't know, when you step out in the open and you take that risk, you don't know whether it's going to turn out well or badly or any of those things, but just stepping out and feeling it, taking that leap, taking that step. That's what our show's about, to me.
She experiences that loneliness within herself, and she's just very comfortable in that imagination, the imaginativeness of her world. And then in meddling in other people's lives, she notices that ultimately everyone has got that loneliness that's in her. And so, and yet they're hiding a bit more in the open than she is. And then, sort of like, if everybody else is feeling ultimately a little bit like I am feeling, then dare I
Take a step.
take a step and be a bit vulnerable.
How you can feel lonely even when in a crowd.
Yeah.
But if you just take a risk, the rewards of being connected to people, that's messy and complicated in itself, you get to experience true life,
Yeah.
true joy.
Yeah, how's it been? Like, when you look at that, did you watch the film again?
So I did watch the film again, and I had a really strange experience. So I started to watch it again, and I thought like, oh gosh, this is nothing. I love this film,
Yeah.
but it doesn't remind me any more of what we made, because what we made is now
So different.
so different, and so from the film, and so inspired by the film. But all I can think about when I try and watch the film now is our show, and the memories connected with our show, and I go, no,
Yeah.
our name's better. Just keep thinking it's like, it's what's crazy is we've been doing this for years, haven't we? This show,
Yeah.
and we made it for lots of different spaces. So we made it for the Watermill, and then we made it for the national tour, and then we made it for the other palace, and now we get a chance to make it again, like new, like fresh, like after being away from each other for a year.
I know, it's crazy. When we stepped on that stage, the first day of rehearsal, it was such a weird experience of having, as you said, been away for so long, and it's, some people, I've done a few bits and bobs. Some people haven't worked at all,
Haven't left their
haven't
house
left their
much.
houses, and so they've just been completely locked in the bubble, and you feel it, don't you? You just suddenly feel that everyone there is just trying to figure out and navigate how to reconnect.
Because you've got a song that's called Stay, isn't it? It's about
Yeah.
going, oh God, I feel like I've been locked up for a long, long time, and I'm reaching towards you. I'm reaching towards you.
You have to respect that I
Yeah.
don't want to come too close right
But in the end, we'll get there,
now. Yeah.
and it'll be gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's basically what our show's about. So what we hope is people will come to us nice and safely and
Just
gently,
gently.
and then it'll be gorgeous.
Stay where you are. Don't come too close and don't go too far. I'll make you count to 100 so I have a good chance to hide. Don't expect me to play fair. Moving, I'll move even deeper inside. I like you right there. Your photographs, so many stories torn in half. Tape up the pieces, and here we are back again, frozen in place. Feeling
So Audrey,
Yes, Michael.
how are you enjoying? Well, A, being a mum,
Yeah.
right, which is like obvious, like amazing, you've got the most amazing daughter in the world, and B, being like a mum who's in a show as a theatre mum with their baby around, and how's that going?
Oh, it's, you know what, I absolutely love it. You hear stories of people in this industry who've had, you know, to fight constantly for their rights as parents, and I think I started this whole journey with a lot of apprehension, and all I've like come across with is pure generosity and support from yourself, from the people in the theatre, and so it's so positive and hopeful for the future and for parents out there.
You were a theatre baby, weren't you? Like you were.
I was. I grew up in trailers. I've got photos of me being underneath the piano as my mother was practicing her singing, and my father was accompanying her. When my father was in the circus in Switzerland, and it was like, you know, a pit stop. So you're every 2 or 3 days, and then whilst they do the last show, the trailer is put on the train track, and so you sleep. And we were right next to the elephant, so we yelled at the elephant.
Oh my God.
So
How old?
I
When
was
you
6
first
by then. I was 6.
So you first joined the circus at 6?
No, when I was 4.
When you were 4?
I was 4. I was performing. Photo of me standing in a guy's hand, and I'm stood up like that, looking super bold.
And this is Cirque du Soleil. So
Cirque du Soleil,
Audrey
yes.
was like born into the circus. And I suppose when we talked about you doing the show in the first place, you were the person I thought, I need someone to kind of sit in the middle of my little strange community of a circus, of a show with all these multi-skilled people. So I did a production a few years back, and Audrey played a hedgehog, right, in this production. And I remember when she came in, I just thought she's the most extraordinary, charismatic person I've ever met. I can't quite work her out. She says some really bizarre things, but I think she's probably one of the most extraordinary, charismatic people I've ever met, and that has a kind of like overpowering charm, and a kind of absurd humour that I've never seen before. So years later, I was asked to do Amelie, and it was just like a no-brainer. It was literally, I didn't stop to breathe to say, it's just got to be Audrey. It's just got to be Audrey. And I phoned Audrey up and said, Audrey, would you like to do it? And you said,
I think you called me and you said that it wasn't even a sure thing. Like, I'm in discussion, I might be doing this, you know, but if I do you want to do it with me?
Yeah, well, that was the thing. It was like, I can't
Yeah.
do it with, I couldn't think of anyone that I would do it with other than Audrey. For loads of reasons. A, because she plays the part brilliantly, but also you kind of carry a spirit into the rehearsal room that's made the show what it is.
Around the circle that I went around the day before.
Around, 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 around. This is their favorite sound.
Around, around, around.
How did you feel when you first took the part about stepping in as one Audrey into another Audrey's role?
It's so interesting because I don't think I put a lot of thought into it, funnily enough. And
Your favourite thing?
pardon?
Your favourite thing?
Not putting any thought into thin things. No, but like thinking back on it, you go, oh, there could have been so much pressure to try and emulate Audrey Tautou, and I didn't. And I think that, you know, it's probably thanks to you, Michael, because you were just so clear with what you wanted.
As everything I ever need is here. This is how my world gets made.
I'm always really wary of doing screen to stage adaptations because I know they're really popular because people know them and there's kind of an immediate
Yeah.
connection to them. But it can be really dangerous because you try and do the thing that you can very easily try and do the thing that film does really well on stage and forget to do the thing that stage does really well on stage.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I can't turn you into a puddle. That's not going to happen.
No.
As much as I'd love to see that happen,
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn you into a puddle on stage. So we can't conjure that same sort of magic. So that everyone's relationship to it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So we'll conjure the spirit of it, the magic of it, but within the tools that theatre has, which is about kind of, well, the imagination, but also the live, immediate experience, like connecting with people in the room,
Yeah.
which is just so different to the film. So you were never going to be like Audrey Tautou. You were always going to be a new
Yeah.
creation.
Because it's an actor-musician show, and it's not a case where you have actors doing their little scene and then going aside and playing music. The music is very much part of the story, isn't
The
it?
event.
Exactly. And the instruments themselves. So you've managed to have the two parents, sometimes, for me, I look at that and I go, the parents are the cellos that they're holding, the two together.
So the two parents are cellists.
Exactly, and because they're two cellists and they are playing, being the parents as whilst holding the cellos, for me, it is a little bit like the puddle of water. I can't melt into a puddle of water, but you transform the parents into cellos, and I find that
In its
very
own way.
beautiful. Exactly.
In its own way, we can create a seed that makes people see
Yeah.
the puddle of water.
Yeah.
How do I comfortably do a film to stage adaptation that acknowledges the act of being on stage? And so the theatre of the imagination, rather than trying to kind of naturalistically replicate the film version, which we could never have afforded to, because the film is so magic realistic. We would never have had the sets to be able to do that production, and maybe even if we had have had the money and the sets to do that production, it still wouldn't have been as evocative as something on film, because film works differently. And I thought, well, if I put the actors as a kind of seed of people's imagination right at the centre of it, will evoke something inherently theatrical that will feel different to the other film to stage adaptations that are going on. It would feel inherently of the theatre.
Yeah.
Because I really want people to come and see Amélie and think that if you love the film, and if you've never seen the film, it doesn't really matter, you have to come and see Amélie, because there is nothing like it. It is a thing in itself that is a kind of celebration of what the theatre is. I think especially after us being all starved of theatre for a year and 3 months or whatever it's been, I feel like the show is like a kind of celebration of what, I hope the show would always be a kind of celebration of what the theatre can do, how the theatre can be a kind of live exploration of what is possible in our imaginations if actors just plant the seed with a kind of simple, exquisite skill that ricochets into people's minds in a way that's, I think, more powerful than some film can be.
And I mean, I love actor-musician shows, and strangely, you don't have many of them. Don't you think that our show is just so immense and awesome in its original sense of the word awesome? You know, not awesome.
You're so cool, aren't you?
I'm so cool. I'm down with the kids. And yet it's got such a beautiful intimacy and fragility, and you said something so beautiful to me yesterday about how you said, Audrey, can you imagine we're in the first shows that are reopening after this mad time, and so what a great opportunity to invite people, and you're absolutely right. It feels like we're inviting them to come to us to discuss and to visit the world of loneliness and how to connect with people. And
Coming out to the open.
Exactly, and I think that our show is a nice, gentle way of doing this.
For Sky VIP viewers, a live performance of Booth Goes Bright.
What do you see when the booth goes bright? In the blinding light, when the flash tries to find you, every photo of every face is a time and place that you leave behind. There's the girl you were, there's your trip abroad, there's your father's smile, there's the face of God. There is everything that you were and still want to be. What do you see when the booth goes bright? There's the girl from the factory, and she's on your knee, though you've known her a week, and you're both so shy, but she makes you laugh. In that photograph where she kisses your cheek, there's when she said yes, there's the next 10 years, there's the loneliness when she disappears, there's the face that you still remember, though no longer know. Where do you go? What happens when the booth goes bright? Where do you go when you're out of view? What's the use in trying to hide or tearing yourself in two? When you leave yourself behind, every piece becomes another clue. Pull the curtain tight and adjust the seat. Lean into the light, don't forget to breathe. And if someday your travels should bring you to me, I'll see what you see when the booth goes right. 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 When the booth goes bright.
My 3 words to describe the show would be hopefulness, soulfulness, and imagination.
It was fantastic. It was fabulous.
Off the train in Paris, half a mile from Sacré-Cœur.
It's mind-blowing, romantic, brilliant.
Breathtaking. It was
Brilliant.
great.
Absolutely brilliant.
You can see what each of them has lost or locked inside.
Wonderful. Absolutely fantastic.
West End quality.
It was spectacular. It was
amazing.
It was incredible. The whole production was just amazing.
And all it takes is one more step, and then
It was so beautiful, just a really stunning, beautiful love story.
Yeah, it was so good.
It was actually very good, really very good.
It was absolutely wonderful. It really, really was. It was just beautifully done. The music was incredible. The performances were amazing.
It's just really lovely, whimsical fun about enjoying life.
I never need is here. This is how my world gets made.
If I had to sum up the show in 3 words, it would be quirky, imaginative, and love.
Fairy-like.
French.
Charming, beautiful, smile-inducing, and that's hyphenated.
Exhilarating theatre magic.
It's quirky. It's unmissable. Yeah, it's unmissable. Yeah.
It's one of the most enjoyable nights in theatre I've had in ages.
Yeah.
Beautiful, magical, talented performance.
Quirky, fun, and magical.
Beautiful and nuanced and amazing. I was gobsmacked. It was such a fantastic and happy show. I've had the best night. I've had the best night.
And I just think that it was just so joyful to look at.
I definitely recommend it to everyone. It's something else.
This is how my world gets.
Dare to dream. Come and see
Amélie the Musical on tour across the UK. J'adore.
À bientôt.